Welcome back. We have a lot to talk about across all genres, and there's even a couple of albums here where I have literally no idea what they're going to sound like. I don't even know what genre they are. I just know that I've heard extremely positive things about some of these albums, and there's one here that I'm really curious about. There's not a lot of information on it. There's a couple of singles, but I'm really curious about it. But let's start, obviously, with the biggest release that it's going to be Future and Metro Boomin, the first album out of two, and we start off with We Don't Trust You. So we look at the past two albums. So Heroes and Villains, there was the Spider-Verse soundtrack, but I rather go with something that is a little bit more kind of tied to the artist, not something that's kind of related to a soundtrack. I think going with an album is a little bit better route. So it's a 71 with the critic score, and then there is a 77 with the user score. So this is a very critically acclaimed and very well received album. It's still being played repeated to this day. You have Superhero with Future on here. You have Creepin' with The Weeknd. There's a lot of great songs on this album, and it sold 185,000 copies first week. So that is quite impressive considering that we're kind of reaching the middle portion of the 2020s. I think there's still a lot of issues with artists selling a lot of records on a consistent basis, but this is one of the albums that is still selling incredibly well. And then you have Future with I Never Liked You. So the critic score is a 65, the user score is a 63. Now, I actually really like this album. I have it on vinyl, and I think it's honestly pretty underrated in Future's discography. One of the best intros was 7:12 p.m. I love Keep It Burning. Puffin' on Duties is possibly a top 20 Future track at this point. But the first week sales for I Never Liked You was 222,000 copies. So that is quite impressive. I think this was Future's best-selling album, and I still really enjoy it. So what do I expect from these artists coming together? Just bangers, honestly. I'm hoping for some more slow tempo tracks, like, for example, Puffin' on Duties. There was some great slower tempo tracks, like off Wizard. I'm just really expecting a good mix of just some bangers, a little bit more of slow tempo cuts, hoping for a couple of features. I know I've seen a couple of features kind of circling around, but probably one of the biggest releases of this year is coming tonight, and it's part one of two. I will say the album cover is not good. Now we move on to SiR with Heavy. So this will be my first SiR album I'm going to be listening to, and I listened to a couple of the singles, and one of the singles I remember was named Karma, and the other single had Isaiah Rashad. The one with Isaiah Rashad is so smooth, it's so syrupy, it's so silky. I love that track. But the last album was Chasing Summer, which both has a 73 in the critic score and the user score. With this album, don't know what to expect. Probably some good R&B jams, possibly some slow jams, a little bit more kind of higher tempo, kind of a mix. But I am still excited because the couple singles that I have heard, I was actually pretty impressed by. So I'm looking forward to that album. This one is here because I want to make fun of it. So Joyner Lucas, Not Now, I'm Busy. I feel like this album has been promoted for almost 2 years, and I would not be surprised if that's the case. So the last album was Evolution. I did not listen to it. There was no reason to at a 44 user score, but I threw ADHD on here. So it has a 56 of the critic score. How? But a 33 in user score. Yes, I agree. ADHD may be one of the worst album rollouts of all time. And according to sources, Not Now I'm Busy has followed the same route where a lot of these singles and a lot of these songs off the album have already been released. So, what do I expect out of Joyner Lucas of all things? Probably some really cheesy song topics, possibly a good instrumental every once in a while. Joyner Lucas can obviously rap. He can rap pretty fast, and he is pretty confident on the mic for the most part. But ever since ADHD, everything just fell off a cliff. I don't know what he was doing with the ADHD. And I like the 508 mixtape that came out, I think it was like either 2017 or 2018. I actually liked that one a decent bit. Still, there was some of the corniness that showed up on those tracks. Like I remember one track was in the perspective of Joyner Lucas's penis. Terrible track. But still, there was hope for Joyner. But now it's gotten to the point where it's flipped around, and I am looking to laugh at this record. So We'll see what happens. So I got not much information on this record here too, but Matt Champion, former member of Brockhampton, is dropping, I think, probably his debut album, because I looked on Album of the Year and it looks like he only has a mixtape, which is self-titled, Mika's Laundry. I know there was a couple singles. I know there is a single there as well that features a K-pop artist, if I'm not mistaken. But I'm just really interested to see how one of the most competent and one of the better rappers on the Brockhampton kind of posse, I'm kind of interested to see how he can carry a full album. We've already seen Kevin Abstract with Blanket, which is meh. And I haven't listened to the Merlin Wood and Amir Van mixed, like a collab album. I don't think I ever will. But I'm curious to see where Matt Champion goes with this, because I feel like he could be the one that could bring a really solid album together. So these are the two records that I have no idea what I'm getting into, but I've just heard really positive reviews from these artists. So Adrian Lenker with Bright Future. So the last album, so there was instrumentals and then there was songs. So songs has a critic score of an 84 and a user score of an 83. I've seen Fantano talk about Adrian Lenker quite a bit, and I'm just really excited to get into whatever genre this is. I have no idea what genre it is, so it's going to be very fun to dive into something that I am not used to, or maybe I'm not immersed in much at all. I'm very excited for it. And then another one that caught my eye was Julia Holter with Something in the Room, She Moves. And the last album was Aviary, which has a critic score of a 79 and a user score of 80. But I was really curious about, there was an album 2017 that Fantano reviewed. I think it's like You Have Me in My Wilderness, which has some amazing reviews. And I saw the genre descriptions in Album of the Year, and it sounds like it's free jazz and improvisation. So, first album from Julia Holter, I don't know what to expect, but it's a good mix tonight of albums I know that are going to be interesting and fun to listen to, albums that I'm going to laugh at, and then a few albums I am just very curious by. So, we're going to have a good night of music tonight. So, hope you go listen to some albums. I know there's a Mac Miller track that's going to be on streaming. I'll be listening to that as well. And coming up soon, I will be doing a roundup of all the albums that I've listened to and all the albums I love from March. And I thought February had a lot of albums that I loved. I think March may have the exact same amount. So thank you for watching. Go listen to some music and have a fantastic night.